I love doing podcasts with this next couple. This will be our third one, won't it?
Yeah, I guess that's true because we did a One Life. I don't know. That was really a podcast. Was it a podcast?
It was a Facebook Live, but they recorded it.
So we did. Yeah, this is and we've spoken
It was a
with
panel kind of
Yeah,
thing.
we've done some other. I feel like we've done some other speaking with them too. Maybe not.
Anyway, they're
We love them.
awesome couple who spent a lot of time on their relationship in the past 5 years, and they turned it around so strongly that they ended up basically starting a business out of it.
Yeah, and when I met Brandy, they were in the thick of it. They have a story similar to ours where they, had this great life. They have their 2 kids, and suddenly they look up and they're like, oh my gosh, we're not happy together. So we ended up breaking up and signing divorce papers and then getting back together. Brandy and Lance decided to put as much effort into their relationship as they had into their careers and their businesses, and treated it kind of like a business. And, set goals and, created a vision for what they wanted in their life. And I love talking to them I've loved talking to them every step of the way. You can just see how they've created exactly what they wanted. They truly take my breath away when I think about all the changes that they've made and the growth that I've been able to see, and also all the people that they're helping through the work they're doing through Legendary Couples for Kids. They have a training program, and they also co-authored the book, The Miracle Morning for Couples. And We'll talk about that on the podcast.
And there are stories in there too. So Sam just gave away a lot of it. They're probably gonna be super pissed.
Probably. Anyway. They're really like that. I'm sure they're going to hold a grudge.
Anyway, they're a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun doing the podcast with them. I think we kind of have a couple of different approaches to the same thing. Theirs is actually different, and so there's one major one, right? We have just say yes.
Uh-huh.
And Brandy's like, make the fucking bed first.
Yeah.
I got a few things that I need done in my life before I'm going to throw down. So there's a couple of differences in our strategies, but it's still, that's life. There's multiple different ways up the mountain, right?
Yeah, we're all just trying to climb the mountain, and however we get there is great.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's raining a lot.
I kind of love that about them. We were joking around about it with them too. So
yeah, we were.
I hope you guys like it. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun. Hey guys.
Hi guys.
Welcome back on a different show.
Yeah.
Right. Same show, different name.
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah.
Better name. More us.
Appropriate. Yeah.
More appropriate. So tell us what you guys have been up to. I mean, your book came out a few months ago, and I really want to talk about that. And I know you're writing another one. So just, for anybody who listened to the first show, like just kind of catch us up a little bit, and then we'll have some more conversations.
Yeah. So we spent some time writing a book in a really short period of time. And that was taxing.
That was very
3 months. That's how long we wrote our book in 3 months.
Less than, because I would say we actually wrote it in 10 weeks, maybe 8 to 10. So it was
editing and all that.
It was super. Well, the manuscript was done in about 10 weeks ish. Mm-hmm. Super challenging, but super triumphant. There were a few fights, a few bruises and bumps along the way, but
why are you such an idiot?
No. Right, yeah. But it was great. It was great writing together, because I think what we dialed in was, in the next book that we write, it's going to be so much easier because of what we worked out the first time.
Right. Which we were literally just talking about it. Go ahead.
Do you want to help us co-author the book, How Writing a Book About Relationships Almost Ruined Our Relationship?
Yeah.
Because we can write that book.
Fantastic idea. Yes. I already have the outline.
That's what I would tell people. I'm like, dude, we're writing this book about relationships, and it's like our relationship is hard right now.
We went through the same thing. I mean, you guys have read our books. We ended up having to do it he said, she said, because we were not going to agree on anything. Right. So like my hat's off to you guys, where you were able to come up with all this stuff and jointly say, yes, we think this is the truth of it. Like, how did you?
Who was the that's good enough person in the book writing process, and who is the no, we need to work on it more until your eyes got crossed?
I should say a lot of both of us in that,
definitely.
Really, because what we did is, we did cross-check each other quite a bit. So, she would write sections, I would write sections, and then we would just go through this process of sending it to each other.
Yeah, but let's back up because we epically failed to start.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what's interesting is in our book, and in our philosophy, right? In the partnership philosophy, we talk about how you have to identify your strengths and don't expect the other person to be the one to carry the weight of something that is not in their strength zone, that is especially in your strength zone, right?
Yeah,
and
I love
so
that.
yeah, we just we were like, okay, well, this is the we know what we're writing about. Clearly it's the Miracle Morning for couples. We've got the morning routine, we've got our basic elements, go through that and let's see where we are. And instead of me doing the part that I'm good at, which is the 100-foot view and putting the whole outline together, and
it's
then
a little
going
higher
in,
than 100 feet.
whatever, what's that, there's
It's
a saying,
30,000 foot view.
whatever,
It's the cruising altitude of a
you
100
Yeah,
feet, 10
Right.
stories up.
Do you know what my daughter says to me all the time now? She always looks at me and goes, Mom, you're so pretty.
We do that. We do the same thing.
Do you do the same thing?
Uh-huh,
I'm like, where did you get that? Where did you get that? Where you're
Also,
basically just calling me stupid.
It also helps if you pet them while you say it. Oh, you're so
Yeah, you're so pretty.
I get, yeah.
I cannot tell her that at One Life. She will.
We won't.
Yeah. So anywho, I've got, I have the brain to do this, this view part and having the outline and whatever else. Well, we missed that step. And so we give him like 3 days. I take the kids to the beach with my sister, give him 3 days of no interruption writing. And we come back and it's like,
dude, I don't think I slept.
I think he was green.
Or took a shower. And I just wrote, and it was just a mess. It was
a mess.
It was a mess. It was all over the place. And I finally broke down and said, I need your help. Like, I've got pages of it's just all over the place.
So we kind of started over and we reorganized it, broke it all down, created blah, blah, blah. And then we both wrote, and then one would write and then the other had to go in and write too. Like we had to write on top of each other so that it was basically like interweaving our
Because
your
complaint was like, you were like, well,
my voice isn't even in this. And like the flow of it that's not making sense to me. Like, it's got to go like,
it didn't make sense to me.
Right. And so that's why he was green when I got home. And I was like, are you okay? I feel like there's something wrong. He's like, this didn't go well.
We hired an editor and we sent the copy to her. And then I have a cousin who's been an editor for 20 years, but not completely different genre. But I sent him a copy anyway because he's really familiar with our story and everything. And both of them got back to us like within 24 hours. Hers was like, I just feel like it needs a little bit more of your story. And his answer was, what the fuck? You guys left out the story. It's all over the place. Blah, 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 blah. So we ended up reorganizing the whole thing, writing a bunch more, and second.
Same. That's what we did. And then we just kept writing. And then we have this like brick of a book that is
I know, it's impressive.
It's big. Someone should have told us, and which was funny is that we really thought that we weren't quite there. I mean, we could have stopped.
Yeah.
This was like a lot of 4 a.m.
every morning. And I don't mean to Honore we worked with Honore Quarter and she was amazing to work with. And
She
I feel
is
like
amazing.
She told us everything we needed to know, but that.
Yes, right. Stop at this word count.
Yeah,
right. She's like, this is the range. This is the range.
We were like, oh, this doesn't seem long enough, and then it literally like doubled it.
I had the word count on refresh. I'm like, oh, we're almost there.
So we both got through it, right? You guys got through it. We got through it. We have great books out there.
We do.
Still married and happy, and.
Well, yours is better than ours, so we have to revise ours.
I'll tell you what, though, the size of our book reduces the profit margin on it.
True story.
That's true.
It does?
No, that's
because printing.
Because I like the
shipping and all that stuff. Yeah, it's like the size of 2 books.
I wanted ours.
Ask Mr. Shipper here.
Right.
I mean.
Oh yeah, actually, that's probably. See, he's about to tell you that.
I wanted
he's going to go into his
6x9, because I like the bigger feel of the book. But because it was so short, it looked thin and just super cheesy. And I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work. So on the second revision, we reformatted everything and put it into the 5x8 or whatever it is, and it became thicker. It felt better. It looked better, but we lost like $1 a book in margin. It cost us another $1 to ship.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's what it's not about,
Unbelievable.
right? It's not all about that.
Right. No,
No.
but there's still the logistics behind the sines, right? Like
Right.
they're just the things that you have to think about. And so where are we in now? We're book 2. We're on book 2.
I actually thought your book was going to be way shorter than ours because it's Miracle Morning for Couples. Miracle Morning.
Yeah.
You know,
What do you talk
the
about?
original one is the Savers. And so it'd be easy. You get up, you have sex, nail the exercise part.
This is how we would have done it.
Go to the bathroom.
S stands for sex.
Make sure go to the bathroom.
Exercise, which is sex.
You can medicate the crapper. We all know that. So it's not a lot
Exercises.
left. I mean,
Meditation.
There's not a lot
is sex.
left.
You can
Right.
meditate during
Meditation
sex.
is sex.
Silence. Silent sex.
you can journal while you're having sex too if it's a.
I think the reading and journaling would be a tricky.
No, Pat, keep the pens out of it. Just keep the pens out of it.
All right. So
That's
tell us
for
what you're
later
working-
time.
Tell us what you're working on.
No, tell us before that. Tell us your top 3 favorite things that are in the book. In the Miracle Morning, like
Oh, you go.
top
You know, my
favorite.
I actually am super proud of the beginning. You know, I mean, that doesn't mean read it and then stop reading it, but
Or you can.
I did love the beginning also.
But I do. I really loved the part that's our story,
Yeah.
and I love that Hal brought in Ursula to write the foreword with him, and I just love the sort of the opening dialogue about how to use the book, and it sort of just frames our philosophy and sets up the book sets up the reader up for success with the book. So I just love the beginning of it.
Yeah, I really like that it incorporates the original Miracle Morning like a lot of the books do,
Mhm.
but it sets the foundation for the second part of the morning routine for couples, like having that time to yourself, how sacred and important that is to be able to have, a thriving relationship. And then, the routine for couples too. I mean, that's a huge part.
Separateness and togetherness is a big part of, what we believe and what we share with couples. And I just thought our ideas fit really well with Hal's.
It worked really well.
In incorporating that idea of separateness and togetherness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to do anything for that, right? Because the Miracle Morning on its own is already your separateness.
Yeah.
And then incorporating the together part in team is the togetherness. And you do that daily, and you have a consistent ritual that gets you, honoring yourself and doing the things that matter. And then same thing for your relationship.
So go walk us through the team, will you? I mean, it's
You're better at it. I mess it up on every podcast.
She made up something else.
I made up
I'm
something.
like, that is not what the A is. It's not.
And then he's like, you're so pretty.
She's like, accountability. I'm like, it's not. Or affirmations. I'm like, no, that's part of Savers. But that's okay.
We have the acronym LEAPS at the end of our book, and both of us look at each other.
L stands
What was it
for
again?
love. Probably.
Love yourself.
Probably.
Love yourself.
Love, probably, I think. So, team, yeah.
Team.
It's the morning routine that you do together, and it's an acronym, just like Savers, right? Or LEAPS, or LEAP, or whatever it was. But team. T is touch. And hey, if this is for you, you guys know what touch means, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
right.
That's the yes.
That's a yes.
Right.
The yes in our leaps.
Just do it.
Just do it. But it was just, we talk about the framework around how important physical touch is, in a relationship and just in life in general and that connection. And so touch is simply, while we're doing this routine together, we're either holding hands or have our arms around each other, even just touching a knee or have your legs crossed over each other. It's just that physical connection while we're doing this routine together. E is for, what is E?
Education.
All right, good job.
I'll do it. I got it all.
You got it?
Boom.
You got it? Oh.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. You actually explain education really
Yeah,
well.
education is great because it can be one of two things. If you're in the early stages of rebuilding or redeveloping your relationship, it's a really good time to educate. It's E is for educate. Educate each other about yourself and say, these are things that I'm really into right now, or I'm going to tell you a story about when I was younger, or ask each other questions, like pull questions out of the hat just to start to get to know
Like
each
table
other better.
topics, you
Table
know?
topics are a great thing for this.
Watch porn together.
Right. I don't really know where that's educating. Put that back into tea.
Depends on the porn.
Sam, let him finish. God.
Sorry.
This is, I wonder if this is why they separated us on the panel. We were like, we thought we were together with them. And then Susan's like, no. We're like,
We crushed the podcast we did together.
I thought the
We were
podcast we
great
did was
together.
awesome.
I thought it was too. We were like, we were good. Okay.
We're
sure.
good. I don't get it. Okay, so educate about yourself.
About yourself, or for us now, what we do is whatever we're learning in our Miracle Morning time. So if it's something we're reading or a podcast, we share that. So it's then shared learning, educating each other on what we're learning. So that's E.
Hey, this is the one that, what is it?
Appreciate.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. So it's just one gratitude.
Yeah, we share, what
Yeah.
what we're grateful for in each other.
Hey, you know what? Last night you rushed out of this house in your bare feet to go run that garbage out, and I super appreciate that. Like, that was awesome.
Now we can have sex.
Well
That's
done.
That's
Yeah.
That's what RA is. I think we call it acknowledgement or appreciation.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
acknowledging each other, appreciate. Like, I just posted on Facebook about the Cameron Harold guy that I know on Facebook. He posted this article, and it was an excellent article because it's the neuroscience and the science behind gratitude. And people with a consistent gratitude practice are 25% happier. Just that part alone. I mean, you can read more about it, but 25% happier. Imagine if we were consistent in appreciating the person we chose to spend the rest of our lives with.
Yeah.
I think
Every morning.
This is a good one to elaborate on a little bit, in that we get so wrapped up in ourselves, and our society in general is super negative, bitchy, gossip.
Yeah, true.
Whole deal.
Victim.
But if you're expressing
Mhm.
gratitude towards somebody, all of that is aside, and you're outside of yourself. So I think that's a huge one.
Yeah, it's like we
My
get caught. It's not even just getting caught in ourselves, which 100% we do. It's like especially as couples, it's what we call the partnership loop. Like, you get stuck in the to-dos. It's like, oh, did you that? Did you this? And it's like, oh, you forgot that, or you forgot, instead of focusing
we
on.
get snappy and snarky with each other, and then we begin to create these opportunities where we focus on the weaknesses of the other individual too,
Yeah.
not so much their strengths.
Well,
And
you
so,
suck at that.
and so
yeah.
the gratitude and appreciation, allows us, it gives us the opportunity to focus on the strengths of each other.
Mhm.
And it's
And then
opportunity
go.
to pay attention to the little things, which we end up taking for granted all the time. And
That's what I was going to say is I feel like the appreciation too is when you start to make gratitude a practice, you realize how much you take for granted.
Yes.
Totally, Sam.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, they ask these people, is they're at the end of their lives, like, what do you wish you did differently? Or what do you, what if you could go back, right? And what is it? It is the mundane of life. It is those little things, those little moments that they're like, no, these are the moments. This is what life is.
That is life.
Right now.
That is life, right? Yeah. And so appreciate those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
I catch
M is meeting.
This is actually it's a self-practice also, in that I'll be driving down the road, and it's super easy to get pissed off at other drivers, and I have to take a deep breath.
We just drove across the country, both of us, by the way, separately
too. Completely different highways. I mean, we were 500 miles apart, north and south, when we came across. But
Wow.
deep breath, and then I look around and be like, what can I be fascinated about right now? What's amazing going on around me right now that I can pay attention to, instead of the asshole in front of me?
Yeah.
It works. It gets me out of my, speeding up to give him the finger or whatever else I might have done.
Totally. I actually talk about that as also a practice in letting go, especially when I think about what triggers me at home with the kids, or, even with her, and that if I can use those opportunities, Pat, that you just talked about, in order to sort of say, ooh, this is something that triggers me, have that self-awareness and that self-management to just let it go, then I'm able to be better off at home when it really counts with the people that I love.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. I
It
can't
is a
control that. You can't control somebody cutting you off. You can't control the line at Starbucks. You can't control the people with the giant grocery cart at the grocery store that have like 1,000 things, you know.
So you're saying yesterday when I turned my emergency flashers on the person that was riding my ass, I should have stopped doing that.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done
I did that.
that.
I think that's
Sometimes
okay.
it scares you though. I mean,
Maybe you should back off,
Yeah.
right? Are you just so close to me
Yeah.
right now? We're in, come on.
You didn't jam your brakes and let them ram into you and
No.
Now I
you
have to
pay
get
for the damage.
I think it would be cool to load like the rear. So you've seen people that put the washer wiper things and they spin them and they point them out, so they shoot.
Oh yeah. I've heard of that.
So you load the
people
rear
behind
one
get-
with stink perfume,
Yeah.
and you're like, "All right, buddy, you want to ride my ass? You're close enough to get a little of this."
That's not a
Back
bad
to
idea.
appreciation.
You shouldn't have told me that.
Oh, we went sidebar.
We're actually on meeting. So meeting
M is for meeting.
M is for meeting. So TEAM, M is for meeting. And meeting is a check-in. Hey, what do we have going on today? What is on your schedule? What's on my schedule? Did we miss something yesterday? Let's check in. How was I as a partner? You know, how are we as lovers? How are we as friends? Like, what could we do better today? Quick check-in.
Yeah, and and a lot of couples too have young, sometimes they have young kids at home, right?
A lot of our
so a lot of the fighting even happens with like surprises, like it's 3 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon or whatever, and you got to pick up the kids, or they need to be at soccer practice, and you didn't even talk
or I
about
had
those
this and you
things. And
forgot.
it's like, and it's so we like to have that meeting time to check in the morning and say what's going on today, so there aren't any of these surprises, and we mitigate the opportunities to get pissed off at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Meet and mitigate.
Yep.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So
no,
it's
I
like
think
the
those are brilliant.
logistics and the check-in. Yeah.
Nice.
Totally.
Do you guys honestly do that every morning?
No, that's why they can't remember.
Yeah.
It's just,
Appreciation and touch and check-in are easy, but we don't always do the education part. And for us, it's really like it's we don't think TEAM.
right.
Because we came up with TEAM after the fact. Like
Sure.
we already had a
Like,
practice.
How do we
of,
take these things we're doing and create an acronym?
right.
out of it?
So yeah. So for us, like the appreciation part, while we're sitting on the couch having coffee where my legs are over him, like that's just our natural morning. Do we have coffee every morning and have a routine together? Yes, every day.
But you also bring up, I want to talk a little bit to that, Sam, because you're right. We don't do specifically team every single morning, but we do have our time to connect in the morning and chit chat and whatever else.
Every day.
But if couples are not connecting at all and they start with something like that, like we did, what we find is that throughout the day, we do more of those 4 things and other things because they become so habitual, right? I can share an appreciation about Brandy any time of the day. We can talk about what's going on later or tomorrow, any time of the day. We can touch and, hug each other in the kitchen anytime.
Sure.
So,
But when we were in triage, how this came to be is that we knew, like anything, like, we talk about in the book how we turned this into like a business plan, right? If you want to achieve a vision, you have to have a plan, you have to take action, you have to be ridiculously committed. And so for us, we knew there was these things that if we didn't create habits around them, we were just going to keep failing like we were before. So we just had literally checklists.
No.
And so these were just things on there.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of the acronym. Really, it's like, okay, what are we doing here, and how can we create a cute little acronym so other people can remember when they're trying to learn?
Right.
Right.
The most important things, like what is the acronym for the most important things, and that's how it came to be. But we also run a business together, so our morning is different than team, right? So we sit there and then we start,
because when the kids get up and want to sit on our lap, shit ain't getting done.
Yeah, it's over. Right. So we get up super early together and hang out and have our coffee, and that's our lifestyle.
Well, not to mention going back to living in the now. I mean, there's only so much more time the kids are going to want to sit on your lap, so you got to enjoy those minutes.
Totally.
Right. You're absolutely right.
And
so
we'll do that time together until they wake up too, because what that's also done is it's modeled for them what's really valuable to the two of us in our relationship. So they know that mommy and daddy are hanging out on the couch, enjoying each other's company and connecting. And they see that every morning, literally every morning.
Every morning.
Yeah.
And the other interesting thing, like, back when we used to talk about the Miracle Morning is we would have just the Miracle Morning, right? Not team yet. I would have women ask, well, how do you do that with little kids? Because I mean, Natalie was super little when we started doing it, and she was an early riser, and I would just scoop her up, or he would, like you did a blog post actually with a picture of her on you, his accountability partner, because she would just she didn't know any different. They still, both of them, they think the Miracle Morning, everyone does it. So it's been around for so long.
It's been a part of their lives for so long. It's like, doesn't everybody do a Miracle Morning?
Yeah, during your Miracle Morning, as if it's like breakfast, right?
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
The book wasn't written when our kids were growing up, so all our kids knew was when the doors closed, mom and dad are exercising.
Journal.
Acronym.
Journal.
We practice the 4 S's.
Yeah, but we could write that book, honey. The 4 S's.
The 4 S's.
So
Meditation, sex, exercise, sex, hot, sexy sex.
Not when that air conditioner's not on in that RV.
Oh, now we have to put an explicit.
That's
like
when we say no.
Slippery.
Every time we get Sam going, we end up with an explicit tag next to our podcast.
It's not always my fault.
Wait, why did you guys change the name of the podcast again?
Because that's not the only position we like.
Well, that, and I think there are a lot of disappointed people, although it's still charting in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, doggy style's hot stuff in the Down Under.
We haven't recorded anything for almost
That was
a
terrible.
year.
That doesn't sound. That was not a good accent.
It was not only that, innuendo is ripe in that statement.
Yeah,
That's what I was laughing at.
I know.
You know what I love is how Pat stays completely like straight faced as you're saying this stuff.
I'm crying over here.
We're like tears laughing, and he's just like,
He's a deadpanner. Deadpan humor.
Definitely happening.
A lot of people look at him and they're like, "Is he kidding, or is that a joke? Am I supposed to?"
It's always a joke.
Yes. Yeah. If you don't know Patty, it's always a joke.
My go-to.
Yes, it's always a joke.
Yeah, if you're not sure, it usually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
So tell us about the book that you're working on now.
So the book that we're working on now is a deeper dive into our elements, into our story, and interweaving a lot of the things that come up consistently for clients and people in groups that we run, because there's so many very consistent threads with people.
We've talked to a lot more people just in the amount of times that we wrote the book in now. And so
it's been a busy year for us.
Yeah, it's been really busy. So, and we also get to sort of incorporate our own, our philosophy of those 4 elements, right? You, partners, friends, and lovers. And in this first book, we used Hal's Miracle Morning as sort of the you, the backbone of the you.
Which was very compatible with our philosophy.
Super compatible, right?
Yeah.
It was super compatible. But we also have our own principles in there that, that we would love to be able to write about in a book. So we'll bring that back in. So,
but definitely the parts about, a lot of what comes up for us is like, I believe this and my partner believes this, and they're contradicting, right? We're not on the same page with this. That's a lot of what causes conflict, and, people don't understand or don't have the tools in their toolbox for conflict resolution, or kind of like what you're saying, like, I want to have more sex, but I don't know, so-and-so the other partner doesn't, and that can go male female, honestly.
It goes both ways.
It does.
We hear a lot of from high low desire couples,
right?
Was that like a penis joke, Brandy? Tools in the
toolbox. It could be. On this podcast, we're going to say yes. On the next one, maybe not.
A good analogy, because our philosophies are
drill, hammer, I get it.
I think at the core, they're for most things, our philosophies are pretty close, but we have a couple of
of course.
So if I were to equate like our theory, our book would be more equated to like a movie, like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So Oh, actually,
Just
that's another
say
good
yes.
innuendo one. Anyway.
If you build it, they will come. Got it.
Oh, I just got
Totally
it.
hear you.
Brandy. I'm like, I don't get it.
In the toolbox. Put that in the toolbox.
But what's I mean, I don't know. We have to think about it now. But anyway, I'll come up with it at some point.
The other thing is like one person into personal growth and the other not, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a lot of what's coming up. And so it's really the psychology behind, navigating these situations and the positive psychology of communication.
Sure.
Yeah. We're into positive psychology, as you guys know, too. So tell me
Right.
in that scenario. So we did a podcast not too long ago. We called the self-help nag, where one person's into self-help and the other one's not. And someone's nagging the other one, right? Like, come on, like you just read this or do that or exercise.
Here's this podcast.
Why don't you come to this conference with me? It'll change your life.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the nag as well. I'm not anymore, but I certainly have taken that role. So when you have couples like that, what is the advice you give to them?
I just had someone ask me something similar on a call like 2 nights ago. And what it is you just keep going. If it's causing problems in your relationship, that needs to be a conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
An authentic conversation of the real issue. And a lot of times the issue with communication is that you're not talking about the real issue.
Right.
You're just, right? It's like, what's the real issue here? Like it's, I feel scared that I'm pulling away from you. I feel scared that I'm learning these things and you're not, and I'm going in this direction and you're here, or whatever it really is. And nobody wants to talk about that part, right?
Right.
They want to just say, you're not growing and you're, whatever that may be. But what I said the other day, that is probably the most consistent thing that I say or we believe is that as you grow and show true transformation without the ego, which the ego is, you should be reading this. You should really unattached. Like I have no attachment to you, right? But I'm showing major transformation in my life, authentic transformation that's causing real happiness, real health. And that's when the other person starts to turn.
Yeah.
Is because you're becoming more inviting. You're not judgmental. You're
Right.
more inviting because guess what? As you are truly growing, you are less judgmental. You're more understanding. You have more grace. You're creating what's called a safe space for this other person over here that's nervous about it, because that's what it is. They're scared. They're like, what is this that you're doing? I don't know about this. And things that we don't know about make us nervous, right? And so how do I create a safe space? By showing and modeling and also honoring where you are now, right?
Yeah, and I think what happens too, especially those that just start into personal growth too, they have this sort of attachment, right, to the other person doing something, and what they haven't gotten their mind around yet is that others don't change until they choose to do so.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of this like, well, you should be, and you need to change too because I'm changing, and so it's like, well, you haven't changed enough because you're not loving your spouse for exactly where they are right now. You are so hungry for them to do what you're doing that you're creating this expectation around them coming along the journey with you, and
what does that do?
It's hooked you, it's pissed you off, it's made you angry, and
like, what does that do to the other person? Like that's like repellent.
Them.
Yes, it's literally repellent, and that's what I did to him for years. I was like, I'm so good that you should be doing this.
I'm like, you need to grow more. You're an asshole.
You're exactly like
it's kind of like it's sort of like a deflection and a blame even, like I'm only doing as well as I'm doing in all my self-help because you're not coming with me. Like I remember feeling like that, like because you're not with me on the self-help journey, I can't go as far as I need to go.
Yeah, you're holding me back.
You're holding me back but of course that's all bullshit, right?
Total bullshit.
Felt that way before?
No.
I had to drag you to one like your very first self-help conference, as I remember it.
Yeah.
And then the beast got turned loose.
Well, no, I was doing my miracle morning, and that's not your thing.
How I started.
You did it for a while.
Strong together on the miracle morning, and then I hurt my knee or something,
and then this book was written, and he was all in.
Yeah,
that's right.
Totally. The miracle. If you're not watching this,
You're
it was
welcome.
the miracle morning for couples.
Well, we said it in the intro.
Yeah, I know, but we'll just keep repeating it, so people go out and buy it because it's a great book.
Available
And
muscle
on
memory.
Amazon, paperback, Kindle, and
Exactly. Audible. You guys found an Audible one too?
I'm just
Yeah.
because I'm a big believer in authenticity, and I'm thinking it, so I'm just going to say it. I feel like if any of our listeners buy your book before they buy ours, I might be angry.
If you do that as a listener, if you do that, it's fine.
So buy them both.
Just don't tell us.
Maybe we can come up with like a
Just don't talk about it.
Dude, let's create a package deal.
We should
Package.
Package
Yeah.
deal.
Also put the package in your toolbox.
customers who bought this also bought, and then we do some kind of a deal. I don't know if you can do that on Amazon.
That'd be cool.
I don't know.
I
Signed copies. We
especially
can do a giveaway of signed copies.
I can tell you right now that we have a bank account where all of our book, any money that we've ever made on the book goes, audio, Kindle, all of it, and we've never spent a nickel out of it, and we've never ever been impressed by the balance. So
this is true.
that's how much we actually really care.
So is your new book done?
No,
And our new book
Oh,
is
okay.
the old book.
the revised book,
Yeah.
you mean?
We're revising.
Which I'm gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna rename it too. But no, it's not. I wanted to have it done like 2 months ago, but we decided to blow up our lives
What's the new
instead.
name? Yeah,
Then
We
can
don't-
talk about
we
we
that.
don't know what it is.
Sam kind of likes From Divorce to On Course, and I'm letting her run with the title. on
Or
it.
from a
Like,
relationship trouble to happy couple, or something like that.
Mhm.
Something that's more descriptive of what we
they're
talk
not,
about.
They're not catchy. So if
Kind
you
of
have any
describes the
ideas, we'll welcome all of them.
Okay.
Any of our listeners that have
I
any
read
ideas.
it, so I know what it is, right?
Yeah. Well,
No, I feel
we
like as
called
much
it-
as it's a journey, you have so many practical tips in it. Like it really is like, yeah, I'll think about it.
I love you. The thing I love about your book, and I think especially for couples that are really struggling, is creating great habits. Because we don't talk too much about I don't know that we have habits. I just don't know if we wouldn't as eloquently be able to put them in an acronym and all that, how you guys have it. And I just love how you guys have that available for couples that I truly believe in my heart of hearts will help any relationship.
I think my strongest habit is avoiding good habits.
This is
I think it's something-
actually, there's some truth to that. I don't want to be a bitch, but yeah, kind of.
Crushing it.
Ooh, it's getting windy.
what?
The outside.
We can't hear it though. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not-
coming.
You
it's
can't.
not coming.
Okay, it actually feels kind of good.
Now we have to edit this.
Whatever. I wanted to go back to we were talking about blowing up our lives a little bit. I think maybe I said that earlier.
Yeah.
So you guys blew up your lives. Has it been 2 years now?
Yeah.
2 years in the beginning of May. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, longer because when we made the choice and created the plan,
Yeah.
it was, because when we say early May, we were moved and in, like we were done.
Yeah.
That was the end of the process. So the end of the process has already been 2 years.
Wow. And you guys started that
Yeah.
at least a year before that, right?
What was interesting is we knew longer than a year before that, but in order to like make it like a big blow up, we needed to sell our house and move and all of that. And my sister got cancer and she lived in the same neighborhood as us. And so it was hard to like leave. Like
Yeah.
we needed to just write it out a little longer. And so we wrote it out. She was cancer free. And as soon as we got through all of that,
She moved first.
she ended up moving. Yeah.
Well, when did
Aha,
you-
it's a true story.
I'm
Didn't you
cancer free. Peace out.
Didn't you stay in that in the Santa
Good for
Cruz
her.
house though? Like in the
No,
fall?
we never made it to this. No, we never made
No.
it. So that was the plan. So when after the beginning of the year, and we were like, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is our plan. Like we're creating this vision. It's super scary, but we don't really know how it's all going to unfold. The first step is to sell this house and give us some financial cushion, relief, all of that, and be able to homeschool the kids and XYZ, right? So you do all of that, and then it's like, but where are you going? And we didn't really know because it where we went wasn't tied to a location. It was tied to experiences and our lifestyle more than anything.
Yep.
And so we decided we were going to rent an Airbnb in Santa Cruz because we love Santa Cruz and it's really just lights our family up. So
right, but you stayed in one where you looked at each other because it's right where you talk about
yeah,
it. Like this is
we
all
do, but we were in a different Airbnb, not the one we were renting. We were actually looking at the rental.
right.
We were going to sign the lease on, and we were staying in this little Airbnb that we stay in a lot when we go there. It's just tiny little, like 600 square foot, tiny, cute little place. And so we're sitting on the couch having coffee, and I show him on realtor.com. I'm like, what about this house? And he was like, I saw it, but I mean, that's Auburn.
That's Auburn.
Yeah.
That's further than we had really
Are you
thought
sure?
about. And I think there was some sort of romanticism around us, living in this Santa Cruz house near the beach.
Oh, we were
for like
so
3
excited.
months. It was actually around the corner from our mutual friend, Chris Lockhead.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
it was,
Yeah.
we could basically, hop his fence, although he probably wouldn't have appreciated that. But,
Yeah, no, literally we could have hopped his fence. We were right behind him, and it was all working out so perfectly, right? We were like, this is going to be great. We're right by Chris. Like the kids have Uncle Chris and Carrie right there, like the chickens, everything's going to be awesome, right? And so we're literally like, we saw it. We were like, there was a couple things that we were like, not totally sitting well, but we get to the house, we see this house, and we decide to leave Santa Cruz and drive up here to Auburn to view the house. And, it was interesting because it wasn't on the radar to, number one, go this small. Number two, to go this cheap. Like we didn't think it was like, let's pay cash for a house so that we have no mortgage and no expenses and, go like, but what if we did? Like, let's go back to our values. Like our values are time, our values are experience. Our values are really like getting our feet in and developing this business from a place of service and homeschooling our children from a place of abundance, right? And not like stress. So neither one of us would have to work for an extended period of time if we did it this way. What if, right? And so we talked to the kids and we were like, what do you guys think about that? And they were like, we really wanted to do Santa Cruz. And we said, well, if we did this, like, what do you want? And we brought them along on the journey, and they just said, we'd really like chickens.
Right. That's
We're
easy.
like,
Done.
they're $1.50 each. Okay.
And
And I think we got
But
the
they
coop
poop
on
a lot.
Amazon for $400. They do. Yeah.
They poop a lot.
Yeah, they do.
But
You
they
do have
lay
to give
eggs. So they kind of make
Yeah.
up for it, right?
breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. They make,
Breakfast.
and they're sweet and they're lovely. They really are. Like the kids love them, and Lance loves them.
And now that you've been in the country for 2 years, Lance is probably handy enough to build a chicken coop, right?
Yeah, true story. You know what's funny about that is the man that I married, this clinical pharmacist, works in an office, very nice, soft hands. He can basically build anything now. I'll be like, I want this. And he'll just be like, "Brrr." And I'm like, no way. Or he'll be like,
Wow.
nope, we're not getting a new one. We're going to fix it. And I'm like, what?
She's like, just buy a new one. I'm like, no.
I'm going to try.
I have duct tape.
I have duct
Yeah,
tape,
duct tape.
staples, I have screen.
Gorilla glue.
Gorilla.
Glue. I got all like 3 types, Sam.
Yeah. Hey, that Gorilla glue saved my life on my way here. I got in a little accident, blew the whole mirror out of the RV.
You Gorilla glued it on?
Somebody else. I took it to a place and they Gorilla glued this other mirror on there. Worked great.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
See?
It's amazing
Gorilla
stuff.
glue saves the day.
So
Yeah,
that's
so
our
you want-
story on how we got here
Yeah.
with Gorilla Glue. We brought it with us.
Yep.
Nice.
I bought more since.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a lot more kinds now, probably, because I feel like they
Yeah.
keep
He
coming
has
out
3
with more
kinds.
and
I have like 3 kinds.
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. So you went from this big, fancy, important life with big jobs and big, everything to tiny house in the country and doing your new thing. And your
Yeah, and it was a great experiment. It
Yeah.
like really, we aren't anti stuff, right? We aren't anti fancy, but when your life is so
Well, I think-
misaligned in priorities,
Right. I think the stuff in the fancy house was what we believed when we needed to make us happy.
yeah.
And that's where we weren't aligned with our values.
So we had to see.
So having the fancy house and all, there's a beautiful, beautiful and wonderful thing as long as it's for us, not what you rest your happiness on. You know, it's
or
just
if it's
extra.
sacrificing. So for us, it was sacrificing,
Yeah,
right?
sacrifice.
I'm working over full time. He's working full time. His job's stressful. My job's stressful. And we had this life that when we stopped and said, okay, if we were to really design a life and say, I want to wake up and do this and have my days feel like that and have these types of activities and go to bed and feel and do this, toolbox, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And so it didn't work.
Are you going to continue this experiment? Are you looking at a new experiment, or you guys are cozy? You're going to be hanging out there for a while till the girls are grown?
Experiment.
We'll have a new experience.
Yeah.
Experiment.
So we're 2 years in.
Yeah.
We live in 1,400 square feet. We have 2 bedrooms.
One bathroom.
So you're going to put
2
that
sinks,
addition on.
kitchen sink and a bathroom sink.
Yeah.
And how many sinks did we have in our last house?
We had 10 sinks in the last house and 4 toilets.
Yeah. And so it's a little bit of a difference.
We have 2 sinks and 1 toilet.
Yeah.
Did you? I bet you didn't know that you had 10 sinks and 4 toilets until you moved.
We had no idea. I mean, we knew we had 4. Yeah, we had toilets.
I had to count them. I counted the sinks after we moved out of the house.
Yeah, you're laying in bed and you're laying there together and you're like, how many sinks do we have in the old house? Because 2's kind of not very many.
tight.
2's tight.
Especially
2's tight with 4 people.
We have 2 sinks in the RV.
Right. Yeah. That's the minimum for most, living
One toilet,
facilities.
2 sinks. Yep.
Yeah, but there's 2 of you. There's 4 of us. We have 2 girls. One is, preteen. So to answer the question, there is another adventure for us. But what this adventure did was it made us realize, like, at the core of our being, what mattered. Like, it doesn't matter if we're like striving for, fans. Like, it doesn't have to be this thing that has to be viewed by the world as, the keeping up with the Joneses type energy behind it, right? This is more about like what's functional for the next phase of our values. Like, if we're to create the next direction of our lives, we want an office where we can do podcast interviews and we can,
without sweating.
Without sweating. Yeah, that's outside of my values, because part of my values are feeling good, and I don't feel good sweating.
Not during a podcast.
Not during a podcast. Yeah, only when we're pulling out the
Sorry, guys.
Back to sex.
Only when you're in your new office with air conditioning and you have the what do they call the beds that fold down out of the wall?
A Murphy bed.
We don't need the bed. We don't need a bed.
Yeah, who needs a bed?
You're gonna put a bathroom in another bed?
Chairs are fun.
Oh, chairs are good times.
Desks are too.
Yeah. True story.
We need a lower desk though. We're not super tall.
Man.
Yeah, you could have the stand-up desk and then the other desk.
Yes.
Yeah, so that another toilet, right? The girls having their own rooms. Like, there are things that we would like to have. And so, as a family, we're starting to look in that direction. And we also learned things, like we came pretty far up the hill. And so homeschooling the girls, we're down the hill a lot. There's a lot of driving. That's not a huge value of mine.
Yeah.
Driving is not a value. Yeah.
Driving is not a value. It's time that, and right now we're efficient with it, but I'd like to not.
You like to drive less.
Like to drive less.
Is the new adventure looking more like Folsom over by the lake there or something?
No, that's where we were before. So we do want to stay country, because we realize that we like being out of the concrete.
There's a bunch of country-ish, in the older area.
Kinda, yeah. Yes. We're going to stay on this side though.
Drove through all of it.
Right. We're going to stay on this side, but we're, and we don't want a lot of land. It's not like we want like full blown, farm.
I'm not becoming a rancher.
No.
An acre is all you need.
Yeah, but we like the space. We like the space. We like the feel. We like the nature. We like being close to trails. We like being close to water.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, I can't wait to hear more about
the new adventure.
Yeah. We're going to go.
Yeah, and I think what's been beautiful about it too is that the kids have buy-in as well. Just
they're
like
helping
we did
design
this
the next phase.
They constantly come to me and say, "Daddy, guess what else we designed with the house together?" And they do this together, so it's a really cool thing, you know, when Natalie's
Mhm.
like, well, I want some of this. And then Huli will draw it for her. And they've got this whole 2-page layout of what they want the house to look like. So,
Mhm.
you know, I think that, you know, moving's hard. You
Mhm.
know, we've gotten
Yeah.
pretty good at it. But for most families, moving's like one of the worst things you could really do. And it's hard on a family. But I think one of the beautiful things we did this last time and what we're doing for this next time is bringing our daughters along for the journey so that it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like such a hassle or a bad thing.
Mhm.
So,
And we're
No, they
doing
get
it
ex-
again. Yeah,
they
like
get
literally, they're
excited.
designing the house.
They get excited about it.
Yeah, they're excited.
I had a friend that was going through the same thing. He was only moving. I think he's living in the same neighborhood, but it was like a few blocks away, and I don't remember if they had to. I don't think they had to change schools or anything, but they really were all attached to the house, and he was kind of bummed about it because his
Yeah.
kid didn't want to leave the house. And I'm like, well, why don't you take them over there, let them pick out their own rooms, let them design what that room would look like, let them look at the yard and see
Yes.
where they want to put a tree fort, or you know what I mean, get them excited about
Yes.
because they had to remodel the whole new place anyway. But
Right. That's exactly, Pat, you're exactly right. That's what they're doing. Like Pinterest boards of, you know, the
yeah,
bedding and the light fixture they want in their room. And, you know,
yeah,
That makes it fun for them.
it
it
makes
does.
it so fun.
we'll
Yeah,
probably keep the chickens.
we will.
Yeah, no, those aren't going anywhere. Anybody that's ever read
No.
any of your Instagram posts would bet heavy against you
They're
getting
staying.
chickens.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys get some other animals too? Or no?
No. Oh, we had a bunny for a while.
A
She ran
bunny.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
she took
Deb.
off.
Deb was awesome. She ran away.
Oh, I'm sorry about
Yeah.
that.
Well, we were at least her third family, if not longer.
She ran away from everybody.
She was a
Yeah.
gypsy soul bunny.
okay.
So
So it was her time to go. She was done with your family
done.
onto another one.
to the next. Yeah.
Mhm.
On to the next.
Hopping through the forest. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us. We'll probably have to do it again soon.
Yeah, every time you guys come out
Always
with
a pleasure.
book or a training thing or, you know.
Hop on
you
the
guys on.
podcast. Yeah.
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 Or if you learn
Yeah.
any new like tricks that you want to share with the audience, we'd love to do that.
Yeah.
You're doing some podcasting now too, yeah?
Not yet. Yeah. We're
Mhm.
actually.
Is that
Yeah,
in the
we're
works?
just
Yes.
it is. We're just going to start doing essentially like a morning show is what we're going to start with. Not
Mhm.
every day, but a once a week like morning show, and we're going to record it and it'll be a podcast and on, you know, our Facebook and all of that.
Cool.
If you need
Yeah.
any help with any of that, we can give you or put you in touch with all the
You'll-
great people we've worked
You'll
with.
be receiving a phone call.
Okay.
The logistics is why it hasn't happened. Yeah.
The podcasts are I think they're so fun.
Yeah, they are.
I don't think the logistics are as complicated as you would think.
No, you guys are doing it in an RV right now.
Yeah, we're doing it in an RV.
You all are doing it right now,
Yeah,
actually.
anywhere.
Yeah, you're doing it now.
Right. But then it's the next steps that we got to talk about.
Yeah,
They're not
Yeah.
that over. They're not that
the
overwhelming.
production steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
that overwhelming.
Yeah. There's a lot of great people that help with that stuff too.
Right.
Thanks, you guys. We really appreciate
Thank you so much for having us.
on. We love you. It's always so much fun to
Aw.
be with you. And yeah, till next time.
And
Yeah.